Hello, Booktube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth. And today, right now, as I'm filming this, it is a few minutes before 6 p.m. on Wednesday, July the 10th. And I am finally getting around to sharing with you what I read in the month of June. Now, I need to go to church here in a few minutes. It actually starts at 6, but we have dinner for the first 30-45 minutes. So it's okay if I'm a little bit late for that because I am determined to get this done today. I had a big, long to-do list today, and I've gotten just about everything checked off except this video. So I just sat down and added everything up, and for the month of June, I think I read 29 books. 2 of them were like children's picture books that I read with Emily, but that's still 27 books. From that 27, a few were like shorter, middle grade, but I always just kind of count those in with everything. But of the 29, 18 were audio and 11 were print. And I did participate in a few readathons and challenges and whatnot. And I also read some things just because I wanted to, for no other reason than that. So this is probably going to be the fastest wrap-up I've ever done. I'm going to make sure that I don't rattle on too long. But the big readathon that I participated in was June on the Range. And I listened to everything. I didn't read anything in print, although I've got a Western up here somewhere. Yeah, I've got 3 westerns up here that were written by, you can't see them, but they're right up there. They were written by the older brother of one of my classmates growing up, and he dedicated one to my dad. He wrote a bunch. I've got 3 of them, including the one that he dedicated to my dad, who was one of his teachers, and they're not on audio. They're out of print and everything, and I need to read those one of these days, one of these months, one of these years. I'm going to read those books. But I just, for lack of time and everything else, I listened to 7 things on audio, but I'm only counting 6 as books read. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. So the June on the Range prompts were to read a Zane Grey book, a Louis L'Amour book, and I forget what else, but I chose to continue on with the First Mountain Man series by William W. Johnstone, otherwise known as the Preacher series, because the main character is called Preacher. So for my Zane Grey book, this is not much to look at, but I listened to Betty Zane by Zane Grey, and I think this is based on a real person, and it's probably where he gets his name from. I think Betty Zane was one of Zane Grey's ancestors. It was interesting. It was, there were some fun elements to it, but I found myself losing interest in it a lot. I don't know if it was slow or what, but I just wasn't super interested in it. And this is the second Zane Grey book now that I have read or listened to that I've had a tough time with, and it's the only 2 that I've listened to. So I'm not going to give up on Zane Grey, but I think he's just maybe not my go-to for westerns. But I really did enjoy the Louis L'Amour that I listened to. It's Hondo. Now, the Hondo character reminded me a little bit of the Preacher character in a way, and I enjoyed that a lot. It's this single man, he was out on the range, and he discovers this woman with a young son alone, and it's kind of a Indian territory, and he's concerned about her safety because the Native Americans have already said that they are going to run everybody out of this area because that's supposed to be their land. And so he tries to get her to leave, and then he discovers that her husband, because she's not sure if her husband is dead or not. He left one day and didn't come back. So when he's in town, he discovers that her husband is just kind of philandering around, not going home. He's gambling and all this stuff. And, he's a little bit ticked off about that. But anyway, I won't tell you the story. I just thought it was pretty good. So then I jumped back into the First Mountain Man series. I listened to 2 right off the bat. And then later in the month, I came back and I listened to 2 more. So 4 altogether. And I started with book number 4 because I listened to the first 3 books last year for June on the Range. Book number 4 is 40 Guns West. And then book number 5 is Cheyenne Challenge. Now, the only library copy that I could get was this bind-up of Cheyenne Challenge and Journey of the Mountain Man. Journey of the Mountain Man is book 5 in the Last Mountain Man series. Well, I've never read any of the Last Mountain Man series, so I wasn't going to start with number 5, and I couldn't find a full unabridged audio of book number 1, but I did find an abridged I think it's called graphic audio. It's like a radio theater type version of it. So I listened to that, and I'm sort of counting that for the second half of this book because I like to take a picture of everything that I read. I keep all my physical books and everything before I take them back to the library, and I take a picture of everything I can that I read or listened to for Instagram, but I haven't posted. I just looked. I haven't posted on Instagram since 2022. I need to get back into that. But anyway, I still like to take a picture for posterity's sake, I suppose. And I didn't want to show this big thick book without having, at least done a comparable amount of audio. So I did that. The next one is Blackfoot Messiah. I guess that would be number 6 in the series. And then number 7, actually, I'm not sure. I got these mixed up. I'm not sure which came before the other, but anyway, I listened to Blackfoot Messiah, and I also listened to Preacher and the Mountain Caesar. Now, this was kind of interesting, very unique. This group of people had sort of set up camp and built these buildings in the style of Roman architecture, and they set up this new Rome out like in the wilderness, and they had big plans to have this big, place that they called New Rome, and of course, that's not going to work because there's all kinds of other things that are happening out on the range. So there was some issues, and Preacher got involved in that, and even got captured by one of them and made to be a gladiator. So that was very unique. I thought when I started this series, I thought, how are we going to have so many different adventures that are different enough to keep writing different books? Well, case in point. Anyway, June on the Range was a big success. I enjoyed what I read for the most part, and I'm looking forward to reading more Westerns, especially from the William Johnstone Preacher series, and which is the first Mountain Man, and the last Mountain Man. So, interesting thing, I didn't realize the last Mountain Man series was actually written first. It was probably one of the earliest series, if not the earliest series, by William Johnstone. It was started in the 80s, and in the very first book, there's this young boy who is going to be the last Mountain Man. Him and his father are traveling across country, and they meet up with this old mountain man that's Preacher in his senior years. And so I guess he was such a popular character that then later William Johnstone decided to write Preacher's backstory and all of his early adventures. So I'm definitely interested in continuing on and reading more of the Last Mountain Man series, but I'll probably go ahead and just continue for now with the first Mountain Man series. So very good. One of the other challenges I've been doing is the Let's Read Nancy Drew challenge, and that's with Mitzi from Mitzi Reads and Writes. And I had a little catching up to do, so during the month of June, I read Book 8, Nancy's Mysterious Letter, and Book 9, The Sign of the Twisted Candles. These were very good. We are only reading up through Book 10 for this challenge, so that's this month. Several people have already been reading it. I am holding off till closer to the end of the month because I've got a lot of other stuff I'm reading right now, but anyway, I read 3 cozy mysteries in the month of June. I'm always afraid I'm going to say July. But 2 books for the Triple Top Treat read-along. We're almost done now. We've got 1 book left, and I'm super excited. But what I read in June was Fatal First Edition. This is one of the Library Lovers Mysteries, the very most recent one, and then the next to most recent book in the Cupcake Bakery Mysteries, Sugar Plum Poisoned. I enjoyed both of these. And then I don't have a physical copy of the other one, but I read this for our Killing Time with Cozies, not the scavenger hunt, but our read-along. Right now we're doing a short read-along of the Georgia Peach series. I can't even remember now who it's by, but the first book is called Peaches and Scream, I think. So it's fun. For my book clubs, we have 3 different book clubs in the summer. We have a special summer library book club that just meets a couple of times. And the book I listened to for that is Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searle. This would have been good if not for the foul language. And I wasn't sure how I felt about the ending, but it's a really cute premise. It's about a young woman who, for her whole life, ever since she was in middle school or high school, she receives these little pieces of paper in random places with a boy or a man's name and an expiration date. Like, how it's basically how long she'll be in a relationship with that boy. And when the book opens, she has received a piece of paper with a name and no expiration date. And then as we see her in her current life, it goes back and it talks about some of these different relationships that she's been in and how they panned out and everything. So I love the premise. I didn't love the book that much just because there was foul language and stuff like that I don't like. But the idea I thought was fascinating. Then for my mystery book clubs, we're actually meeting tomorrow, and we are discussing Wins or Not by S.J. Bennett. So we've already decided we're having high tea. We're gonna the library has tea already with cups and all that. So any book club members who are coming and want to bring finger sandwiches or biscuits or something, then we're going to do that tomorrow. So that'll be fun. Then for last month, we read Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I'm trying to remember now what I rated this one. This was okay. I think I liked it better than some of the other people in book club, but it was interesting, and the title does kind of give away some things, but it was a fun premise. And then for our literati book club for last month, I did not enjoy The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It's just not my kind of book. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't need to get into details. I'm sure you can read about it. And you might assume that I don't like it for one reason, and that's part of it, because that's just not what I need to read about or what I want to read about, but there was other things too. I mean, it's kind of a Hollywood tell-all, and I'm not really into that either. A fictitious Hollywood tell-all, but I don't know, it just wasn't for me. Then, just because I wanted to, I read or listened to an entire series. I own 3 of the books, and I got one from the library. This series was recommended to me by my brother, I believe, several years ago, and it was almost the oldest thing in my Libby wish list, like the things that I would like to get to. There's one more that was older, and I'm gonna do a little challenge next month, which I'll do a whole video about, and I'm gonna get to that oldest one. But the series that I listened to is the Circle series by Ted Dekker. I started out with the first book, which is called Black, and I didn't love it, but I persevered, and it started to grow on me a little more as I went, so that by the time I got through it, I was enjoying it somewhat. Still probably just 3-star rating for the whole series, but I don't know what I was expecting. They're considered, I guess, Christian fiction, but it's really more of kind of like, is allegory the right word? I'm not sure. It's more symbolism, Christian symbolism, and parallel, kind of biblical parallels and things like that. Anyway, book 2 is Red. Book 3 is White. This is the one I don't own. This is a library copy. And then book 4, which on Goodreads says book 0, and I read somewhere that Ted Dekker says you could start with this or end with this. Don't start with this. This is the sequel. This is book 4. This is not the first book in this series. I would never, ever tell anyone, especially after having read it. I mean, there are some times when you read a series and the prequel you could start with. No, there is nothing about this that's a prequel. I don't know why anybody would think that you should read this first. Anyway, let me get off my little soapbox. This is book 4, Green. So I'm glad that I got to them, and now I can either trade these in. Well, I'll return the library book, but I don't know. I may lot these up, put them in my eBay store, or I may trade them in at the bookstore. I'm not sure. Then I listened to another Reacher book, 61 Hours. This is by Lee Child. I love the Reacher series. And I had said that I wanted to read some more Star Wars books. I only read 3, and only one of them was an adult novel from the 80s. I said that I'm reading now the books that were published in the 80s. So I only got one of them done, and that's The Empire Strikes Back. I forgot to even read the little golden book of The Empire Strikes Back. And I also want to read the junior novelization of The Empire Strikes Back as well. So I'll get those done hopefully pretty soon. But I did read 2 middle grade Star Wars books. I read A New Hope. Actually, I read this one first. This is the junior novelization of Episode 4, A New Hope. And I read this one, which is A New Hope, The Life of Luke Skywalker. So this starts out with a very young Luke, and then it goes on through his life. I want to say on through, well, the prologue is after Episode 6, I think. Or at least after Episode 5. It's after Episode 5 or 6. And then it goes back, and then it kind of goes through, chronicles Luke's life on up to that point. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. There are at least 2 or 3 other biography type books that are by Ryder Wyndham. He wrote also the junior novelizations as well. So I'm looking forward to reading more of those. I own the Darth Vader one and the Obi-Wan Kenobi one. All right, just a few other little things to finish up. I read 2 biographies of the same person, Fanny Crosby. She was a hymn writer and had a fascinating life, and I have had these on my shelves for a while. I was doing some cleaning over here and clearing off. In fact, I boxed up a lot of my biographies and memoir books and things like that because I wanted to make some space on my shelves for all my Star Wars collection. And I thought, you know what? These are short. I'm just going to go ahead and read these. And I enjoyed them a lot. I'm probably going to take these to the church library. This is just a beautiful cover, too. I really enjoy having this one, but I'm also very happy to share. And it's got some really nice illustrations, too. Let me see if I can find one to show you. I thought they were in color, but maybe not. Here's a photograph of Fanny Crosby. And then while I was cleaning off my shelf, I ran across a couple of other little books that I thought, you know, these are short. I'm just going to go ahead and read them. This was such a gem. Bless This Mess and Other Prayers. I also reduced the amount of organizing books on my shelves. Any of them that were Christian-based, I boxed up to take to our church library so that I could reduce the amount on my shelves. And this is one of them. This was adorable. I really enjoyed it. It is a bit dated. It's from the 60s or 70s, but it's by Joe Carr and Imogene Sorley, and I just really enjoyed it. Then I found this one. I didn't love this one so much. It was okay, but there was really nothing new in here. It's called Habits Die Hard by Mac Anderson and John J. Murphy. 10 Steps to Building Successful Habits. So it's good things. It's things that are good to be reminded about, but it's kind of just a little gift book. And so, you know, there's not a lot here, but, you know, it was good stuff. Then I read 2 picture books with Emily that I added to my Goodreads. We found a Cat in the Hat book. I think we got this at the bookstore where I work. This is one of those by Tish Rabe, R-A-B-E. I don't know if it's Rabe or Raby, but she has written several educational books with the Cat in the Hat as the main character, and this one is called There's No Place Like Space, all about our solar system. Then we also read Spunky's First Christmas by Jeanette Oak. Now, I think we also found this at the bookstore where I work. I did not realize that Jeanette Oak had any children's picture books. She does have some children's like middle grade books, and I own some of those, but I didn't know about this one. So it's not necessarily a Christian book, but it's a really nice little fun book about, I think about someone adopting a puppy or getting one for a gift or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'll have to read it again, but I am probably going to take this to our church library, but we wanted to read it first. So that is what we did. Anyway, that is what I read for the month of June. I have got to wrap this up now, and we've got to head to church. So we're surely very late by now. Anyway, that is everything I have to show you in this video. I will be back soon with a couple of other challenges that I am going to be doing in the coming month and months. And I hope you will check those out as well. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.